know you guys are stuck with the JV team tonight with me running the show, so bear with me and we'll try to get through it. Correspondence is...
Yes, that letter from Brad Caton, at Red Lodge Area Community Foundation. I just really wanted you guys to be aware of that. If you want me to read it out loud, I can for you. But
go right ahead.
on Monday, September 30th, a group from PREP, which is Philanthropic Preparedness, Resiliency, and Emergency Partnership, and then there's a website for them, will be in Carbon County learning about the local response and recovery from the 2022 flood. There is interest in visiting with Fromberg to better understand the local perspective on the flood response, recovery, and any ongoing impacts to the community. If you and or members of the town council are available and would like to share your experience with the group, please let me know and we will try to align their schedules to include a visit to Fromberg. So, I wasn't sure what you guys wanted me to respond with to that.
I feel it's definitely something that should be posted that anybody who wants to really show up and be part of it. And it probably wouldn't hurt to at least have one or two of us, at least somebody's available.
So at least for now, I can just let them know that yes, we would like them to come visit with Fromberg, and even maybe they'll tell us what time works for their schedule, I'm guessing.
The time frame, I'm guessing as they get closer would be nice. They'll probably pick what time they'll be here.
Would like an evening be preferable?
Evening would be
Okay.
great.
I can email him back and see if that's possible.
So, no more correspondence. So, next item is public comment on items not on the agenda.
That's me.
Okay, we'll start in the front. What you got?
I'm Jean, by the way. I don't know if all you guys know me. I live over on Lover's Lane. And I have had a problem with the noise ordinance and the fireworks. And so I have actually written a proposal for an ordinance. And I would like to let you know that on the 4th of July, all day, there was excessive fireworks going off all day long. And on the 5th, from at least 12:30 or so, all day long, I went over to approach this person that was firing them off. And he told me that he was a veteran, which is fine, that he owned his place, that I needed to respect him and that we owed him. But I didn't like it because he said he could shoot him off as much as he wanted. It was independence. And if I didn't like it, go home, put my headphones on and shut up. So I'm over fireworks. It's not just me, it's the neighbors. I've got signatures on back of this proposal from different people. And I think that we need to get a new ordinance in place. But I don't think we have any. I've called the sheriff department twice, talked to one in person. And they said, well, we couldn't do anything because there's no ordinance. So here we had to listen to them, and then on the 5th, the 6th, the 10th, and last night, fireworks were going off. And I mean, some of them shook our windows, shook the tools in my garage, made the dogs upset enough to where they had diarrhea everywhere, had to take them to the vet to get medications, had to shampoo carpets. Maybe that bill needs to go to the town. I don't know, but nobody's doing anything about it.
Well, that's definitely a document that we can look at as a council. We can review it. It's going to obviously have to be on the agenda and stuff like that, but something we definitely look into.
And then I also propose some fines if they get cited. There's some fines on here. If they can afford to pay for fireworks, anywhere from probably $700 on up, they can afford to pay a fine. That's my feeling. And they should be also not be shot off in the town. If they want to shoot them off, go outside the town. And it should be the town's responsibility on the Independence Day and on New Year's Day to have a set designated area with the fire department, with people that know what they're doing to set them up and run them. And it should only be from like 8 till midnight or 8 till 12:30 on New Year's. Other than that, if somebody else wants to shoot them off, they need to find a place that you guys are okay in, pay for a permit, and make sure the fire department's there and somebody authorized to shoot those fireworks off. but it's getting ridiculous.
Definitely. Understood. Yeah, it's a slow process first to get anything in, but it's definitely something to look at as a council for sure, and look at that, and see if these ways to come.
And I can tell you, I called the mayor, he goes, what am I supposed to do about it? Well,
That's what this
get
table's
up
for.
off your ass and do something.
You would leave that with, to where it's something that we can really go forward with next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up. We'll just wait for
I never win.
I'm Nikki Elliott, and last year Nancy Ray and I had a farmer's market going over in the park, and we used the overhang and the picnic tables with the permission and blessing of the council, and I'm just asking for that same permission and blessing this year. I don't know exactly when we're going to be getting into starting the market, but it'll probably be the end of this month or the very 1st of August, so
Are you guys
anyway.
gonna be doing the same Thursdays?
Exactly the same Thursday from 4 to 6, and we'll just use the table and the overhang, and if somebody's using the table, we'll just move out of the way. But we haven't had a problem last year, so.
Yeah, I don't think is that something we necessarily
No,
vote
the
on?
mayor asked me about that. It's a public park. Anybody can set up there. Like, it's the same as a kid's birthday party. You just show up in the park and you use it. It's first come, first served. So you should be just fine. The only thing I would wonder about is maybe a business license, and I'm not sure what Fromberg's ordinances say on that, if farmers market are exempt or not. But
We don't have one for farmers markets.
there's nothing that
And
exempts
they're
them.
all different. Well, there's nothing that exempts them, but there's nothing that ties them into a business license either, if that makes
Well, if
sense.
they're selling, they're conducting a business. So I would say they probably need a business license.
But if they're doing it one day out of the week, not for a couple hours.
yeah, that
I
generally
mean, it's
doesn't
kinda
matter,
like
but
a yard sale, isn't it?
yeah, and some ordinances exempt yard sales from business licenses,
Okay.
but I don't know what your guys' says, so I really can't speak to it at all. If they didn't make you do it in the past, it's probably not a thing.
It's been nothing but a good thing so far. So.
Yeah, so if they
Okay.
didn't have you get a business license last year, then I'm not super worried about it. That's just the only thing that comes to mind for me.
Well, guys, watch for our farmer's market, because we're gonna have some really good stuff. We'll be posting it on Facebook and stuff when it happens, when it's getting ready to happen.
So this is like open to anybody, don't need a permit?
Yeah, absolutely, anybody in town can join us out there. It's just Nancy,
Well, what if you, like you're gonna set up Thursday?
Thursday from 4 to 6.
What if somebody else wanted to use that same spot Thursday?
First
You're
come,
gonna-
You know
first
what?
serve.
Huh?
First come, first serve.
First come,
And like
first
she
served.
said, if they're there, show them
If they're
over.
there,
Okay.
we have a means of,
Okay,
we can move to, move over and stuff like that, it isn't.
We need something
Okay.
like that.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we never had
That's
a
a great
problem
idea.
last year.
okay.
Yeah. The parks aren't bad.
Jerry's next.
Ready? Jerry, you're up, buddy.
I was just kind of curious. I see a pipe going from Tim's all the way up to the corner, all the way down past Sandy Bones. It's used pipes. You're not going to use to bury that stuff, are you?
No, that is not the water line that's going in, that's a temporary line, that once they start getting ready to go, when they shut the water off, that'll be the water that'll run from
Oh,
end to end. All it is a temporary line to keep
Okay.
water pressure.
oh my God, not that poor.
No, the line that they use will be 8-inch C900.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my name's Erwin Sankey.
The same thing we did.
I noticed when I came through the door that there's a white pickup parked in the handicap zone, both of them, right in the middle of it.
That might be me, I don't know.
You look
I got a
pretty
white
handicapped.
Learn how to park in the lines.
What's that? I must have been drunk, my apologies.
Don't take lessons from me. Okay, so I just need to know if I need to come for the next meeting with paperwork for the booths. What do I need to do anything else for Farmer Days? Because I want to have them set up by the bank and along the streets, of course. So do I need to do anything on y'all's side?
I think that kind of falls under your original
Okay.
special.
Okay, because we're doing up the maps right now and we want to make sure that everything's situated.
Yeah, I would think your original permit, you already encompassed everything else.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I'd like to say something else, Kirkland. I would like to say that we need a full board report on the $100,000 that came from FEMA, and I think we need it soon. And the other thing we need is we need a definite go ahead from the council if necessary to make sure that letter from DNRC goes out to all the citizens, especially in the floodplain because it involves them, to keep the mail of the public away from the public is a crime. So, deal with it. They have a right to know this stuff, and they have a right to do their preparations. And for anyone to stand in the way, it's a crime. So you guys, please,
I
Go to
agree,
City Hall.
because I haven't gotten any.
go to City Hall and demand a copy of that letter. You have a right to have it.
We have not gotten any. And
I
I'm
know
over
it.
there with you.
For 2 years.
Exactly.
It's
I
time it
also-
goes out.
I have a scheduled call with Justin Stanley from FEMA tomorrow to try and finish up what it is that I can't find of that 100,000. Not can't find, that's not the right word. That I don't know exactly where it's supposed to go back to. I have some of it tied back to claims and I need some help from FEMA because I can't find the rest of the documentation. And he and I are set up for tomorrow. So I am working on it because I want to close it out in June technically. Even though I know we're July. It'll get closed out in June is my goal so that it's done.
Anyone else? Alright, moving on to the next line item, mayor or council. Anything from the council?
Well, since the mayor's not here and the lawyer's not here, that kind of limits what I was gonna ask. But, the FEMA letter, the mayor has been given out a copy of that already.
Right, so Melissa drafted a copy based on an email from Shailia, and I know she worked with the mayor, and they were prepared to send it out. And then she was told to hold off because maybe the floodplain
Yeah, that's wrong.
map was changing.
That's
And then,
wrong.
yes, after I spoke with you, yeah,
Yeah.
we actually are gonna cover it on the agenda, so we can deal with it then.
Then,
No, because the attorney's on the other side.
good.
And I never heard from him, I didn't know he wasn't coming. So,
Was you notified?
yeah, Melissa included him in the council packet email, I believe.
Well, I guess my
Oh,
question,
yeah.
I do have a question. When was you notified that there was no meeting last Monday?
Monday morning when I see you
And after one of you texted me, maybe Mike, I look back, I really thought I had sent a text to the group, and I had not. So I intended to do that when there's 5 weeks in a month, and particularly with the 4th of July holiday, I never would have had all the
I remember
claims.
the discussion.
There's
of it.
no way I could
I
have
guess,
paid.
I mean, that was fine, it just would have been,
And I really thought I had sent a text to the group that, hey, I'm gonna talk to the mayor and I pushed this till the next week, but I had not, because after you texted me, I was like, didn't I tell them? And I didn't, so that is my fault, and I apologize.
There was
So.
a discussion on it, because I remember saying there was something with the holiday that we pushed out.
I think maybe what happened is you and Tim and I talked about it,
Yeah.
and then maybe in my mind it was handled, I'm not sure. But I know we did talk about it, but I didn't send it out to the group, so.
Alright, so nothing else from the council? Next line item, sheriff's department.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Sheriff's Office. So it looks like we had 116 hours and 35 minutes. Total calls for service 38. 9 traffic stops in town, resulting in 2 citations, 0 arrests. The further breakdown, time spent patrolling was 97 hours and 33 minutes. Time on calls for service was 19 hours and 2 minutes. And looks like we had a considerable amount of calls, mostly civil processes, traffic stops, some animal calls, and looks like 1 trespass.
Anything for the audience for the sheriff?
thank you.
Copy this?
I believe I got it in email.
Did you?
Mhm.
If not, I'll give it to you after the meeting.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Those nine traffic stops or whatever, are they happening on streets or they happen right out on the street?
Well, let me look here. So, looks like they're half a dozen in here. There's a couple on the highway coming through, School Street, East River Street, Park Drive. Another one on the highway, East River Street, Lover's Lane,
Good.
West River Street. So kind of a little bit all over.
Okay, because there's been quite a bit, I watched it the other day again. We get people passing from the wrong side on this highway because they don't want to slow down.
Yeah,
And somebody almost got hit because somebody's passing on the wrong side, doesn't see somebody coming across.
Yeah.
And it's,
We're trying to spread out as much as we
okay,
can.
no, it's not, so that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Anybody else have any questions or anything?
You said School Street, whereabouts on School Street?
I don't know, it says School Street.
Why were you speeding?
You guys could probably make your wages up there.
That'd be down the road, really.
Can't see the drive.
Where?
Thank you.
All right, that's it. Move on to the next one. Thanks, guys. There's no special events applications.
Nope.
Ready, so we'll come up with business, discuss personnel policy changes.
So I threw a couple of extra sheets on everybody's packet that, all of it wasn't included in the packet, only a part of it was. So we just reprinted it, got all of it.
It would just be added to the personnel policy as well.
And then I also have some notes from Derek Shepard at MMIA on these changes when you guys are ready for those.
Any discussion on personnel changes?
Do you want me to give you a rundown? So I sent all of these to Derek Shepard at MMIA. He's the HR consultant that is free for the towns to use because most of us clerks are not really trained in HR. So he's kind of considered the expert. And I did send these to him and he did give me some information on it. So I can go through that if you want.
Yeah, I guess the.
Okay. He said as far as employee evaluations, if the mayor is in charge of supervising the employees, then he should be the only one doing performance reviews because those are considered confidential employee information and they're placed in the employee file. So he really cautioned against having the council have access to those because he worried it would be a very big privacy issue. So that was the main one that he said I would absolutely not do. And to add to that, he said if the council's not in the supervisory chain, then they should not be in a supervisory role, which is giving performance reviews. So those were his two comments on that. As far as a lot of the rest of them goes, he said they're fine. There's nothing that MMIA wouldn't approve because ultimately MMIA approves our personnel policy since they're the ones who will defend us if we are sued. And so he doesn't have any problems with any of those. He just, again, he really cautioned on limiting your applicant pool with things that are in your personnel policy. He really encouraged that people focus on the employees getting the job done. If they can do that with their dog or their kid, then he said, then that's not a big deal. And if they can't, then you deal with it in a way of employee expectations. And here's your expectations, and if you don't meet them, then we're gonna move on through the disciplinary process up to an employment termination. But he said if your employee's getting their job done, it's really tough to limit them in some of these ways. So that was his only issue. He said you can absolutely do it, just that's his only caution, is that you are limiting your applicant pool. And everything else I have from him is in regards to a resolution, so I'll save that.
In today's business, anything that's rural and it's almost unheard of to put the handcuffs on, so to speak.
That's what he
Trying
said.
to get applicants here, basically painting yourself into a corner at 20%.
Yeah, that's kind of what he said. He said you really don't want to keep people from applying. You know, you are so small and your applicant pool is small, and so if these things tend to limit your applicant pool, then you could really struggle, which I think we already struggle out here for good employees. So, but again, you can do it. It is allowable, according to him.
I guess my question is, and here's the deal that takes from a different party who kind of does this, and their deal is you put it in as a safety precaution, and you can always make an exception afterwards.
Not
But
really.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, if you're gonna have it, if you put it in there with the intention of making an exception, then you shouldn't put it in there.
Okay.
But you cannot put it in there, but still give your employees certain expectations, like your job's not being done, and I believe it's because of X, Y, and Z, and these are the things I need you to change. And then if that employee doesn't change those, then you move through the disciplinary steps, up to termination if that's what it takes.
But if you're not the party in charge of doing the disciplinary steps,
Correct. The mayor would be responsible for that if it's a department head.
Our hands are tied, and when the public is complaining to us, I waited 30 minutes because of, or whatever.
Right.
And I don't like my hands being tied with people calling me, complaining.
I actually wish that I had asked him that question, because my best guess is there is a recourse from a council standpoint. The mayor is in charge of the employees, but the council does set the policy, and maybe that recourse is you change the policy on the, right then and there at the next meeting. But if you want, I can ask him that question.
Here's the deal, we don't even have in our policy, and I didn't notice it until it was too late. There's a lot of people that have policies where we have an employee policy, and at any time we see fit, we can change employee policy. And it is built into the employee policy deal, that exception to the rule. Did I miss it, or is it?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, was that put in your original policy? I don't believe I seen it.
The exceptions?
Yeah, we can change employee policy at any time we see fit.
Oh yeah, no, that's not in this policy itself, but I think that's within your scope as the council to set policy. So the mayor supervises employees, but the council sets the policy that the mayor operates within. That's how I believe Fromberg is set up. So yes, you as council can vote to change the policy at any time. I've slowed you down a little bit. It didn't really have to take this long, but that's because I want to be really sure before we send it to MMIA. But you could do it quicker than we have done it, for sure. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Well, I guess my deal is if it's not in the employee policy, administration changes in a year or whatever. Now, we don't see something we like going on. We want to change a policy, and somebody looks at us and says, it's not in the employee policy that we can change it.
Oh, no, that wouldn't be, because this is for employees. You guys are not employees, you're legislative. So what's in here doesn't apply to you anyway.
Yeah, but
So
what I'm
having
saying
the ability
is,
to change it wouldn't be given to you in this policy. That would be given to you in your legislative duties, is my understanding. Does that make sense? Because you're the governing body.
Yeah, so the governing body would
Right.
have.
So you already have
Under
that
state
power.
code, you can go in and
we can change it at any time
Yep.
we see fit without.
As long as it's a majority vote of the council. Yeah.
Don't smile about that. Please and thank you.
I got a call. If you want me to tell you what happened, I will.
I have a question.
It involved an employee being followed around, see what he was doing.
It's a council meeting, don't be fighting with people.
So who evaluates the mayor?
That should be
Right. That's part of the question I wish I had asked when I had this guy on the phone is what is, if the council is unhappy with the supervisory role that the mayor's in, what's the recourse?
Right.
And it probably wouldn't be Derek, wouldn't be my best bet. It would probably be local government center at MSU. So I would call Dan Kenter, Ashley Kenter, Dan Clark. So, but I can make that phone call too and find out and get those rules. It's probably in your municipal handbook, how that all works. And we could prove cruise through that. But I am fairly certain that, actually I'm 100% certain it is within your guys' scope to change this personnel policy. That's what's on the agenda today.
Anything from the council on proceeding, waiting to hear more info, or what would you guys like to do?
Well,
Still discussing the policy.
I was still on that one.
We can either make a motion to accept the employee policy, the addition, and the policy, right, itself, or...
I'm struggling to hear when that's blowing in my
Okay,
ear, so.
sorry. Can we make a motion to accept the employee policy handbook that Kristen has drafted along with the policies that are added
With the
to-
changes that you
the
presented.
changes that are added?
You could. And just to be clear, I didn't draft that policy. This is what you guys had in place since 2021, and MMIA approved it at that time. So this didn't come from me. It came from MMIA.
Okay.
I assume. I was kind of helping at that point, but that's my best guess is where it came from.
Okay,
So.
but it just hadn't been approved or whatever, except...
No, it was approved. You guys approved it. It says on the
really?
cover, which I didn't print on my copy today because I didn't need it, but I think, oh, actually it says on the bottom, September 2020. And then the reason I think it's dated 21 is that's probably when you got final approval from MMIA. Because you guys approve it, then it goes to MMIA for approval.
Yeah, because that's interesting, because one of those policies, I'm pretty sure, has been violated up one side and down the other of there.
Oh yeah, no, this has been in place since at least September of 2020. So yeah, I did not, I'm sorry I didn't make that clear. I
No.
did not draft this.
No.
You guys had this in place
Thank you.
already. So, I think, I can't remember who was here in 2020, if that was Jan or Lacey. I think that I maybe had that discussion with them, but I didn't really help
No,
with
that's
it.
okay, I'll get with you, because now I know pretty sure that the one was violated
Yeah, so
Sunrise to
yeah,
Sunday.
I'm sorry that I didn't make that clear. This is what you're operating under right now.
Okay.
So anything in this should be being enforced as of today.
Oh, man.
So, yes. So I think, I don't know if you want to hold off on changes until I get more of those answers from local government center as far as recourse.
I think we will.
Okay. And I had intended to make that phone call, but unfortunately I just didn't have time.
Do we need to make a motion for that, or?
You can just table it if you want,
Move to-
and we'll just bring it back again as old business. So.
Okay, I apologize for not being more...
No, I'm sorry. I just assumed you knew that. I don't think I ever actually said it out loud.
Okay.
So.
I move to table it till the next meeting.
I second it.
And motion and second to table and employee policy changes, all in favor? That's the unanimous. Okay, next line item, new business. Discuss Brenda Buckner property. And floor is yours if you'd like to elaborate on it.
Shoot,
Yeah, back in 1990, I bought the property. I have a copy of what was listed in the paper. On my phone, I'll just read the ad that was listed. It says farmer, 2 houses, shed, large lot. And then it had the price tag on there. Okay, if you look at the plat map, sorry, it's not a large lot with the plat map that they have now. The one I was given with my deed, the city map, it shows that it goes around at a curve, and that's Minesburg Loop. So I assume that my property went all the way out to Minesburg Loop. And I've taken care of that piece of property from the ditch. We put the ditch under pipe. And then I taken care of it from the ditch all the way out to the road, to Minesburg Loop, that area there, for 30 years. Okay, and that's a big piece of property. It's not just little 6 feet, you know, that you take care of like in front of your house, you know, from your property line. And, you know, it's been 30 years. I've watered it, I've mowed it. In 2023, I took out all the trees, leveled it off, had somebody come in, I spent $3,200 on that piece of property up there. Okay. Excuse me, that was 2022. And last year of 23, the mayor came over and he said, you need to move the shipping container that I have on there. He didn't introduce himself, I didn't know who he was. He just asked me, is that my shipping container? I said, yes, it's on my property. He goes, no, it's not, it belongs to the city. I go, no, it doesn't. My deed says I have block 4. And I assumed a block is a street, a street, a street. In this area, it was just the 3 streets because Minesburg Loop winds around and goes into Missouri. And he goes, no, it's the city's. Next day, he sent the sheriff's department over to my house. And see on my deed, it says block 4 of the original town. It has no measurements, no nothing on it. We were led to believe when the realtor put her stake out there, shows on the map again. There's my brother put up a pole fence at the corner there of Carbon and Minesburg Loop. And I have a picture of it. And it matches up perfectly with the line across the street. So there's that, and it matches up perfectly. That's where she had put her stake, showing that was our corner, clear to that end.
Was that a survey of, like a true survey, or just a real speculation?
Well, that's where the realtor said that that's where our property ended, was right there. And it went all the way around, and it included that, at the time it was an orchard. It still does have some plum trees in there, chokecherry trees, it had cherry trees, apple trees, grapevines.
Can you tell me when you purchased that property?
In December of 1990.
1990?
Yep.